Welcome to Sound and Fury. I am Eric Wilford Watson.
And I'm Hugh Frank, and I believe that children are the future. You can teach them well, but buddy, you gotta let them show the way.
Isn't that a song?
No, pretty sure it's... No, it definitely is not.
Isn't this dialogue from School of Rock?
Was that a movie?
No.
Okay.
Today we're going to talk about what if... ... question mark.
Yes, number 2 and 3. Yes. So, number 2, what did you think of number 2, first of all?
Well, I used most of the roll of toilet paper. I went to Taco Bell earlier in the day, so it wasn't
not
really
that number 2.
I thought the second episode of What If was rather entertaining. You said in a previous episode you're going to get a box of tissues out when you hear Chadwick Boseman's voice again, and I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, oh, what a loss not having him around to be such a good actor, not just in the Marvel movies, not just in Black Panther. He's just a good actor, period. But I really didn't like the episode all that much.
I did. I thought it was very interesting how Thanos ended up becoming just one of the buds, right?
You're right.
And of course, everybody's saying, "Wouldn't that be genocide, man? Wouldn't that?"
Captain Genocide?
Yeah. I'm like, no, let me explain it. So it's interesting when it's dialogue instead of action, and he actually tries to explain to people what, his plan is. People are like, no, that's not good at all.
That's a bad idea.
That
wouldn't be very nice.
That wouldn't be very bad at all.
Although I still assert my plan was not without its merits.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
But it's very interesting that the vacuum that was formed by not having, basically Thanos there being the big baddie was filled in by the Collector, which was very, very interesting. And then at the very end, because Peter Quill didn't become Star-Lord, Ego just kind of walks in as Peter Quill is, I think, in his 20s or whatever.
He's working at a fast food restaurant.
He's working at the Dairy Queen that was, the Dairy Queen that ended up showing up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And
TOO and TWO.
Exactly. Volume 2. Yeah. Number 2. So it ended up being actually, obviously, the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, they're kind of one and the same. Just a very good individual, right? Good soul, always out there to try to do better. And ultimately, from that phenomenal goodness came nobody to stop Ego from turning that entire version, that entire part of the multiverse into the Ego-verse. So basically, all that goodness resulted in the most disastrous evil, which happens off screen or whatever. But basically, you think Ego's going to win. So suddenly, that whole part of the universe has been rewritten, and it's all Ego.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just didn't like it because it's going back a little bit. I'm doing the DC fan watches all the Marvel movies thing for a separate series that we're doing, and I just got done watching Guardians of the Galaxy, which I guess we'll record an episode about that later.
I'm sorry, I didn't know what this machine did. That's my favorite part. Anyway, go ahead.
But it's after watching Guardians of the Galaxy and then watching this right afterwards, it really seemed like they were just undoing what Star-Lord, a.k.a. Arnold Schwarzenegger's son-in-law.
Yes.
It's like, well, if somebody else would have done it, it would have been better. And he's friends with everybody. Thanos was never really a dick. It's like, I don't know, it seems like it kind of disrespectful to the Chris Pratt character a little bit. And I didn't really care for that. It just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
Well, yeah, and a lot of these...
And I didn't like good Thanos. It's like, if somebody would have just listened to him, he wouldn't have killed half of humanity. Come on. But, no, it was okay. I mean, I like the first episode a lot better. This didn't do it for me.
Well, isn't that special?
I liked episode 3 a lot, though.
Episode 3. So, yeah, that's a very interesting premise. So, I assume that everybody's watched it by now. The idea that maybe in one universe the Avengers never existed, and then to think...
Or died horribly.
Right, and to think that there was a person behind it. Like, at first, I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Tony Stark died. That's, and then they start dying one by one. I'm like, okay, now there's a pattern. Now there's somebody behind it.
Stark!
Tony! He's
dead, Jim.
And then, obviously, Hank Pym bereaved over the loss of his daughter, which didn't happen in the Earth 616 or whatever, the main MCU. So he decides to take vengeance, and it ultimately leads to Loki in front of the UN conquering Earth. And I thought that was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, but they'll give you a little hope at the end where Miss Marvel comes back.
Wrong!
And they wake up
Captain America.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got the two captains.
So that was, I want to see I would watch the sequel to that.
Yeah. Basically, there's good.
It was nice to have Coulson back.
It was very cool to have Coulson back. But there's some really interesting. Of course, they've ended 2 of the 3 of these out on kind of a down note. Mm-hmm. Which I like. I like movies that end in down notes. I love Empire Strikes Back. Exactly. Or we're not going to end on that note, are we?
No.
Okay.
We'll end on a high note.
Okay.
By the way, our previous video, which might be published after this one actually, when we talk about the Foundation books, the second of the Foundation books is probably my favorite because it is like the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy, where things don't go so well for the Foundation. So the second Foundation novel of the trilogy, wonderful read. Anyway.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And so Empires like that. I loved Infinity War. I loved spending an entire, was it 2 years? Just 1 year. I think it was just 1 year thinking, like, how are they going to do this? Like, how are they going to fix this, right? And I remember back in this, it, of course, is going to age me too, but back in, 1980, 81, watching Empire, and then for like 3 years trying to figure out, like, is Darth Vader Luke Skywalker's father? Like, I need to know. I spent 3 years wondering that. I love that. And the Empire beat the Rebel Alliance, and then you've got Thanos kick the Avengers' butt, and now in this one you've got Loki took over, and you've got this beginning of this resistance. Instead of S.H.I.E.L.D. being this government, large budget, got basically infinite resources,
turned into underground.
Turned into this underground thing. Which
what's Hydra doing?
What is Hydra doing? Well, and
they're still in S.H.I.E.L.D.
They could work with, would Hydra really be trying to conquer the world?
This is my favorite alternate universe they've created so far.
There's a whole universe.
The reason I like this one so much compared to the first 2 is it isn't just an alternate version of a movie I've already seen. It's its own unique, separate story, and I like that a lot.
That's true. It only has...
It's not redoing Guardians, and it's not redoing...
Yeah, it has a couple scenes. It has, obviously, the scene where Tony Stark dies, and I found myself wondering if they just reused his recorded dialogue. I might watch a side-by-side to see if... did they actually bring...
a different actor?
They credited Robert Downey Jr.
Wrong!
I told you I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
I told you, I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
I told you I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
I told you, I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
I told you I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
I told you, I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
Now we know.
And also we've seen Hulk Hogan on a wrecking ball.
So what was I doing with that? Oh, so there was a couple scenes they had to redo, but it wasn't just you're right. It wasn't just a remake of the whole movie. There was no battle for New York. There was no any of that, where it was basically a scene for scene reproduction, just with different people. So you got a good point. It is now that we're talking about it, it is actually better than I thought.
And I like seeing the Watcher in the sky.
Yeah, that was cool. In the sky. With
No,
diamonds.
this is the first episode of the series that really got me and like, okay, this is good. First two, not so much. After I watched the second one, I'm like, I really don't even want to watch the third episode. But now that I did, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Yeah. For me, it's like, just put the Marvel in the vein, man. I'm just gonna, I like it or not. I just
You got any more of them Marvel movies?
No. You got some Marvel?
It's all true.
Or writers of What If you haven't actually thought about what season 2 is going to be yet, which is probably very unlikely because this stuff's planned out for a long time, I would like to see an episode per episode sequel. So season 2, episode 1, Captain America,
that would be
Captain
neato.
Britain, yeah, and then what happens with, of course, and it actually would kind of work because you wouldn't have T'Challa in the second one because he's not really the main story anymore.
Well, he's back in Wakanda now. He could go back to...
Yeah, and everything's kind of happily ever after,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't have to figure out what happened with...
That might get a little convoluted, though, but it would be neat.
Yeah, but it would basically be what happens with Star-Lord at that point. And then the third one would be, okay, what happens after Loki's conquered, and et cetera, et cetera.
I'd like to see the list of rejected what if ideas.
That would be cool.
It's like ones that like, no,
What
we
if,
can't make that one.
What if, I can't even think of it. What if he wants to leave the room?
What if Nick Fury was the Hulk?
He's already Shaft. He's a bad motherfucker.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
I don't think I'm going to be as much of a heroin addict.
Give me the Marvel
I'll just be more of a responsible Marvel drinker, and you can be the heroin addict. I'll be watching my Marvel all like, and you'll be like,
I'm chasing the Marvel dragon,
yeah.
so to speak.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. So, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel.
Click those buttons
And-
and things down there.
Send us money at P.O. Box 12345, Idaho
Somebody's
City,
gonna
Idaho.
take you seriously. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But seriously, send us. No, I'm just kidding. But do like and subscribe. If you do, then a puppy will lick my face.
And unicorns will stop shitting on your roof.